Yet again, another crazy day in the markets in here. One day we're red, the next day we're green, rinse and repeat. That's what it seems like we are doing so far in here on the week, where basically the E-minis in here ended up about 28. Gold was up 52, Nat gas flat. You have NASDAQ up about 317, Russell up about 10, and your Dow was up about 47, with your VIX getting a little bit of pullback in here down around that 1850 mark. So going forward in here, what are we looking at? Well, we have to worry about the VIX. Where is the VIX going to come into play into all these things? And are we going to continue this rotation that we keep on having, right? Everybody sells everything off, everybody buys it back, sell it off, buy it back. What is going to give in here? What is going to happen? And we have to keep an eye on our VIX if we are going to look at that. But today, speaking of the rotation, what everybody was doing is yesterday we sold NVIDIA. Today we bought it. Yesterday, we had a little bit of a run up in NBIS in here, and today, just a big pullback in here. So that's what we're going to look at on this weekly chart. 194 is where we ended down here, almost 8% on the day. You can see a nice big rejection of that 9-day EMA so far on the week in here. We thought that perhaps last week was going to be a setup week for us. We can kind of get back up into the good graces of this overall structure. It looks like today that just did not happen. We had a chance here at the end of the session to actually try to break above that $200 range. We're up in those 199s. Couldn't do it. And then obviously that larger pullback came as we got into close. So going forward, what are we looking at on this overall weekly chart? To the upside in here, obviously 200 is the level. We want to see that. We have a 197 resistance in here as well, but really we care about 200. That's kind of the main level in here. Outside of 200, we're looking at 214 and then 226. To the downside, say we don't get a gap up tomorrow and we're below that 197, well, then there's nothing really to save us until this 180 right here. And then outside of there, we are looking at the 157 mark. And then anything below there, it's just going to be chalking it up to the moving averages. But with this good down move that we had in here in the past month, it looks like our RSI is starting to get pretty much reset in here as we are back to neutral. As far as our implied volatility goes, in NBIS in here, it's looking like your IV rank is still relatively elevated, 98 in here for an IVR, $19 expected move in here. Next week, you have right around a $35 expected move. You have earnings coming up in August, so that's going to be something we're watching out for as well. Great bank earnings coming out starting today, so that was good as we're kicking off this new earnings cycle. So that's always a positive. And as we're working forward in here, we're going to take a look at Tesla in here as well, just because that we had a nice little run up here in the early morning, and then obviously that pullback. We didn't quite pull back enough to breach this lower trend line of this overall structure in here. That's going to be right around that 390 mark. That is going to be an area that we need to hold. If not, then we are going to be looking all the way down here to about that 360 level for our next nice big resistance. But you are going to get a little something here right around that 367, 368 mark. To the upside in here, obviously 400, that's the big number. It has been for quite some time. Anything outside of there, we're looking at 407, then we're looking at 414, and then the 441. We're going to take a look at AMD as well. This is a stock that it seemed to trade with NVIDIA, then all of a sudden it wanted to trade with Micron, then kind of wanted to do its own thing. But all in all, 3% gain in here on the day. A little consolidating up here. You see, got a little top heavy, and instead of just completely pulling back and just dumping, right? That's what it tried to do right here about 3 weeks ago. Little consolidation up in here and kind of top heavy with the overall market as well. So look at your correlation between your AMD, your SPYs, and your NASDAQ in here, and just wait until there is some correlation and kind of give you a better idea of what is going to happen. But all in all, a little top heavy kind of all around up in here. Your supports and resistances in here. To the upside, you are going to be watching this 571, to the downside 527. Outside of there, that 9-day EMA sitting at that 500 mark with your RSI relatively elevated compared to itself in here. So that's something that we do have to be aware of. Earnings coming up in here at the beginning of August. So a couple weeks away, you are going to get an earnings report in here, especially with all the big boys, but AMD and NVIDIA, that is going to be the ones that the chip guys are going to be focusing on. IV ranking here is sitting about 96, $19 expected move, priced in by tomorrow's expiration. Friday's expiration about $34. If you go all the way out to your August monthlies, right around $112 expected move being priced in. So all in all on the day, not too shabby. We'll take it. Just a weird kind of rotation day again in here. Everybody was selling off Apple. We sold off SpaceX. Everybody kind of rolled into NVIDIA. We rolled into AMD. AMD's correlation is now different compared to what it was just even yesterday. So it's all kind of crazy in here. NBIS, everybody sold that off today after a nice little run. So it's getting crazy in here. Let's kind of hold on and see where we can take advantage of these different correlations and then go from there. So let's see what happens as we continue throughout the week in here. All right, guys, if you like this video, make sure to check us out on all of our social media. We also have a Discord service if you are interested, and you can find all of our socials in the description below.